Around 2016, the sharp drop in oil prices reduced Saudi Arabia's cash reserves by a staggering $150 billion, forcing the ruling family to quickly design a financial rescue plan. On April 25, 2016, Mohammed bin Salman, then Deputy Crown Prince, announced the Vision 2030 plan, a strategy aimed at revolutionizing Saudi Arabia's economy and ending its dependence on oil. Based on a report by McKinsey Company, the plan aimed to transform Saudi Arabia into a major global economic power.
Dance the night away, have somebody drink a little more.
Así me gusta.
Over the years, the initiative has attracted numerous stars from cinema, music, and football to Saudi Arabia as promotional ambassadors. But now, after nearly a decade, can Vision 2030 actually save Saudi Arabia's oil-dependent economy? How much progress has been made? Is Saudi Arabia really achieving its goals? Or are the critics of the plan right? Until a few years ago, Saudi Arabia was known as a traditional tribal country with a rentier oil economy and strict Wahhabi Islamic laws. However, the emergence of one figure quickly shifted this image. Mohammed bin Salman, the Saudi prince with ambitious plans to reshape Saudi Arabia and bring it closer to a globally developed country. In 2017, bin Salman carried out an unprecedented move, detaining dozens of princes, former ministers, and influential Saudi businessmen at Riyadh's Ritz-Carlton hotel. The official excuse was fighting corruption, but most analysts viewed it as an effort to eliminate political rivals and concentrate power in his hands, a move that succeeded. With Mohammed bin Salman's rise, Saudi politics began to take on a new tone. By sidelining powerful rivals in the royal family, he cleared the way for consolidating power. This was not merely a generational change in the palace, but a redefinition of the rules of power in a country long governed by tradition and oil rents. To solidify his position, bin Salman sought to transform Saudi Arabia's traditional image and present a modernized vision of the kingdom to the world. A key tool in this process was Vision 2030, an ambitious program aimed at freeing the economy from oil dependency and creating a different future for Saudi Arabia, presented as a roadmap for economic and social reforms. The pace of reforms was rapid. Women were allowed to drive, dress codes were relaxed, foreign concerts were held, and other bold moves shocked the country like Saudi Arabia. Mega-economic projects also attracted significant attention. At first glance, Vision 2030 seemed like a plan that could rescue Saudi Arabia's economy and bring it closer to advanced Western economies. Early progress showed positive results, including reduced unemployment, an increase in the private sector share of GDP to 47%, and improvements in quality of life indicators, such as life expectancy and access to health care. It appeared that Vision 2030 was on the right path, starting with structural reforms and moving into accelerated investment in key sectors such as tourism, renewable energy, and technology, a path that promised economic diversification and social progress. The image of Saudi Arabia in the media was also being transformed through major investments in global stars and the promotion of large scientific and environmental projects.
كبير الأرض والأكبر ترى قلوب السعوديين تهلي الشمس ويقول القمر يا حي هالجيان.
However, despite early progress, doubts about the practicality of this ambitious plan gradually emerged. Reports of delays and slow progress began to surface. In a country where political restrictions make access to accurate statistics difficult, under Vision 2030, Saudi leaders promised that the government and bureaucracy would step back, giving the private sector, intended to be the engine of employment and economic growth, the main stage. A massive sovereign wealth fund was also planned, backed by the sale of just 5% of Saudi Aramco, the oil giant. The International Monetary Fund cautiously endorsed the roadmap, but doubts remained. Could a country that has based its power entirely on oil for decades build a bold and diversified economy in just 14 years? History provides a warning. Saudi Arabia has often shown enthusiasm for grand, flashy projects, but many of these projects have stalled halfway. A clear example is the King Abdullah Economic City, launched in 2005 with promises of 2 million jobs. Despite billions of dollars invested, it never progressed beyond its initial phase. Vision 2030 seems to be following a similar path. NEOM, a futuristic city in the northwest with an astronomical $500 billion budget and Red Sea tourism projects, represent these ambitions. Yet behind these dreams lie serious criticisms and concerns, from environmental impacts to the forced displacement of indigenous tribes who have never been part of this glittering future. It seems that in designing these mega projects, Saudis have been more captivated by spectacle and showmanship than by expert advice. A prime example is The Line, a city planned to be 170 kilometers long, but only 500 meters wide, designed for 1.5 million people. Yet the plan defies basic urban planning principles. Such a narrow, elongated city makes easy access nearly impossible. Traffic, population density, and social challenges immediately cast doubt on the project's feasibility. Gradually, reality began to surface. By 2024, the line was astonishingly downsized, from 170 kilometers to just 2.4 kilometers, accommodating not millions, but only 30,000 people, a 98% rollback from the original promise. In 2018, Mohammed bin Salman confidently announced that the line would be completed by 2025. Today, even Saudis admit that completing NEOM, with an estimated cost of $1.5 trillion, will take at least 50 years, and some reports suggest it could extend to 2080. Vision 2030 claims to free Saudi Arabia from oil dependency. Yet the bitter paradox remains. All these costly projects are funded by oil revenues. When oil prices rise, projects thrive. When prices fall, everything stalls, a dream vulnerable to global energy market fluctuations. More serious questions arise. Will Saudi Arabia's rentier, closed economy allow a real private sector to emerge? Will foreign investors enter this high-risk environment without transparency and legal guarantees? Vision 2030 promised millions of new jobs for young Saudis. Yet today, most jobs are held by foreign workers who accept low wages and harsh conditions. Employers are reluctant to hire Saudi citizens, who expect higher pay and easier conditions. This contradiction undermines the core of the program. Saudi Arabia cannot seriously compete in manufacturing industries. Low wages are unattractive to young people accustomed to the public sector's benefits. In key sectors, the situation is clear. The petrochemical industry is saturated. Mining requires little labor, and expanding healthcare will not make Saudi Arabia a regional medical hub, as Lebanon and Jordan are already ahead. Banking and finance are highly competitive, and Riyadh is unlikely to secure a special place. Meanwhile, the goal of placing 5 Saudi universities among the world's top institutions remains largely aspirational. Saudi Arabia needs heavy investment in technical and vocational training, yet a society that considers such education beneath, it will resist change. It appears that Saudi Arabia's oil-dependent rentier economy has also shaped its culture. Economic reforms alone, without cultural change, cannot transform the country's image.
مرحبا رياض. I love it when you call me señorita. Oh, wish I could pretend I didn't lead you.
Whether buying football clubs and star players or allowing cultural freedoms like dress code relaxation can effectively achieve, this is yet to be seen. What is clear is that rapid economic and cultural manipulations rarely produce desired results in closed societies. Saudi challenges are not limited to technical economic development issues. The cornerstone of sustainable economic growth is national security. Massive welfare projects cannot endure without security guarantees. While Saudi Arabia enjoyed relative security in recent years, regional tensions, including Israel's attack on Qatar and discussions of Greater Israel affecting parts of Saudi Arabia, have erased previous red lines, making security risks serious. The main question now is, can Saudi rulers simultaneously save their economy and address the country's security challenges?